The night a boxing icon challenged rock royalty to a live dance battle, primetime television nearly exploded. October 15th, 1969. A routine tapping of the Dean Martin show was about to turn into something no producer could have planned, and the one person who didn't see it coming was Elvis Presley himself. He was seated comfortably on the studio couch, scheduled to perform and trade a few light jokes. The mood backstage was calm, almost predictable. Nobody expected the next 10 minutes to become one of the most replayed moments of 1960s television. The studio at NBC in Burbank held roughly 300 well-dressed guests that evening. They came for smooth comedy, big band music, and celebrity charm. What they got was something else entirely. Elvis had recently reminded the world why he was called the king. His televised comeback had reignited his confidence. At 34, he felt sharp again, hungry, focused, ready to prove he still owned the stage. Backstage, he checked his hair in the mirror, tugged at his leather jacket, and ran through quiet vocal scales. His guitarist stood nearby, fine-tuning arrangements. It felt like any other show night. Then the dressing room door swung open. In walked Muhammad Ali, heavyweight champion, 27 years old, radiating energy. He didn't just enter a room, he took it over. Ali grinned, pointed straight at Elvis, and said, "I hear you can move, King, but can you float like a butterfly?" The room froze for half a second. Elvis blinked, then slowly smiled. "Only if you can shake a leg, champ." And just like that, the spark was lit. Word spread quickly through the backstage corridors. Crew members leaned in. Makeup artists paused mid-brush. Even producers drifted closer, sensing something unpredictable in the air. Ali began shadowboxing playfully, dancing on his toes, throwing mock jabs at the air. Elvis responded with a hip swivel and a sharp foot slide across the floor. Laughter erupted. But this wasn't just joking around. Two of the biggest icons in America stood face to face, one ruling the boxing ring, the other ruling the stage. Pride was involved now. Ali bounced closer. "Show me what you got, King." Elvis stepped forward. He snapped his fingers, gave a quick spin, and launched into a burst of footwork that felt half karate, half rock and roll rhythm. His boots struck the floor in time with an imaginary beat. Ali answered immediately, fast feet, lightning shuffle, shoulders rolling like he was dodging invisible punches. The crew started clapping. Someone shouted, "Take it to the stage." Moments later, what was meant to be a casual guest appearance turned into a spontaneous showdown under studio lights. The audience sensed something unusual. Applause began before anyone even understood why. Dean Martin leaned back in his chair, drink in hand, grinning as if he knew history was unfolding in front of him. Elvis stepped to center stage first. He struck a pose, chin tilted slightly down, eyes burning with playful intensity. The band picked up a rhythm instinctively. He moved, hips swinging, legs snapping, shoulders rolling with that unmistakable swagger that had once shocked a nation. The crowd roared. Ali wasn't intimidated. He stepped forward, bouncing on the balls of his feet, shadowboxing in rhythm with the music. He ducked, weaved, spun, and flashed that famous grin. Then he danced. Not polished, not choreographed, just pure athletic rhythm. Fast, sharp, effortless. The studio exploded. For nearly 3 minutes, the two legends traded moves, Elvis with musical flair, Ali with athletic grace. Each time one raised the bar, the other answered. It wasn't about winning, it was about presence. And both men had it in abundance. At one point, Elvis leaned in close and whispered something no microphone caught. Ali burst out laughing mid-shuffle. Dean Martin finally stepped between them, pretending to referee, raising both their arms like prize-fighters after a draw. The applause wouldn't stop. In a decade defined by cultural shifts and generational divides, This moment felt different. It wasn't political. It wasn't controversial. It was two giants from completely different worlds sharing the same spotlight, feeding off each other's charisma. Backstage afterward, Ali clapped Elvis on the shoulder. "You got moves, King." Elvis grinned. "You're not so bad yourself, champ." They posed for photos, smiling, relaxed, competitors only for a moment, friends the next. Years later, people would remember the heavyweight fights. They would remember the comeback concerts. But those who saw that tapping would remember something else. The night a boxer and a rock star turned a variety show into a spontaneous dance battle. No scripts, no rehearsal, just energy. And for a few electric minutes in 1969, America watched two kings share the throne. The night a boxing icon challenged rock royalty to a live dance battle, primetime television nearly exploded. October 15, 1969. A routine tapping of the Dean Martin show was about to turn into something no producer could have planned, and the one person who didn't see it coming was Elvis Presley himself. He was seated comfortably on the studio couch, scheduled to perform and trade a few light jokes. The mood backstage was calm, almost predictable. Nobody expected the next 10 minutes to become one of the most talked-about moments of 1960s television. The studio at NBC in Burbank held roughly 300 well-dressed guests that evening. They came for smooth comedy, big band music, and celebrity charm. What they got instead was electricity. Elvis had recently reminded the world why he was called the king. His comeback special had restored his confidence and sharpened his edge. At 34, he wasn't the shy kid from Tupelo anymore. He was focused, disciplined, and determined to prove he still owned the stage. Backstage, he checked his reflection one last time, adjusted his jacket, and rolled his shoulders loose. Musicians tuned quietly. Stagehands whispered cues. It felt like any other show night. Then the dressing room door swung open. In walked Muhammad Ali, heavyweight champion of the world, undefeated in confidence, overflowing with charisma. He didn't simply enter a room. He charged into it like it was a title fight. Ali flashed that signature grin and pointed straight at Elvis. "I hear you can move, King," he said, "but can you float like a butterfly?" The room froze for a breath. Elvis looked up slowly, a half-smile forming. "Only if you can shake a leg, champ." The air changed instantly. Crew members drifted closer. Assistants stopped mid-task. Even producers sensed something unpredictable building between two of the biggest icons in America. Ali began bouncing lightly on his toes, throwing playful jabs into the air. His feet were quick, rhythmic, almost musical. He moved like he was dodging invisible punches. Elvis answered with a sharp pivot and a smooth slide across the floor. His hips snapped into motion, controlled and confident. The grin on his face said he was enjoying this. Laughter erupted, applause followed. But it wasn't just a joke anymore. Pride had entered the room. Ali leaned closer. "Show me what you got." Elvis stepped forward. He clapped once, spun lightly, and unleashed a burst of footwork, half rock and roll, half martial arts precision. His boots tapped in crisp rhythm against the floor. Ali matched him immediately, faster foot shuffle, shoulder feints, quick turns. He blended boxing footwork with playful dance, turning defense into rhythm. Someone from the crew shouted, "Take it to the stage." And somehow, within minutes, what was meant to be a casual guest appearance transformed into a spontaneous showdown under the studio lights. The audience sensed something different the moment both men walked out together. The applause started early, rising before anyone understood what they were about to witness. Dean Martin leaned back in his chair, drink in hand, eyes sparkling with amusement. He didn't interrupt. He let it unfold. Elvis took center stage first. He struck a dramatic pose, chin lowered, eyes intense. The band instinctively found a groove. He moved. hips swinging with controlled power, shoulders rolling in rhythm, legs snapping sharply in time. Every step carried years of stage mastery. The crowd roared. Ali stepped forward next, bouncing lightly, shadowboxing in sync with the beat. He ducked, weaved, spun, and pivoted. His footwork was lightning fast, almost too quick for the eye to follow. Then he added flair, tiny shuffles, playful spins, exaggerated dodges that turned boxing into dance. The audience exploded with laughter and applause. For nearly 5 minutes, they traded moves. Elvis brought musical swagger and showmanship. Ali brought athletic grace and fearless improvisation. Each time Elvis raised the intensity, Ali answered with speed. Each time Ali dazzled with footwork, Elvis responded with rhythm and flair. It wasn't about winning. It was about presence. And both men dominated the spotlight. At one point, Elvis leaned toward Ali and whispered something no microphone caught. Ali burst into laughter mid-move, briefly breaking his rhythm before jumping right back in. Dean Martin finally stepped between them, pretending to referee. He grabbed both of their wrists and lifted their arms like prize-fighters after a dramatic draw. The studio shook with applause. For a moment, the cultural divides of the era faded. Here stood a rock and roll icon and a heavyweight champion, two men from different worlds, different industries, different battles, sharing a stage without ego, without rivalry, just pure charisma. Backstage afterward, the energy lingered. Ali clapped Elvis on the back. "You got rhythm, king." Elvis laughed softly, "And you've got speed, champ." They posed for photographs, relaxed now, smiling like old friends. No title belts, no screaming fans, just two legends enjoying a rare, unscripted moment. Years later, people would remember the championship fights. They would remember the comeback concerts and sold-out arenas. But those who witnessed that tapping would remember something else entirely. The night a boxer challenged a rock star. The night a variety show became a stage for spontaneous greatness. No rehearsal, no choreography, just instinct, confidence, and mutual respect. And for a few unforgettable minutes in 1969, America watched two kings share the throne, and neither needed a crown to prove it.